Welcome to Ask the Tech Coach, brought to you by the TeacherCast Educational Network. If you are in charge of professional development and looking to build an innovative digital learning experience, this is the podcast for you. Join us each week as we uncover strategies that tech coaches are using to drive their digital transformations one classroom at a time. And now for your host, with over 2 decades of experience working with tech coaches and ed tech companies from all around the world, Jeff Bradbury.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us and making TeacherCast your home for professional development. This is Ask the Tech Coach podcast, episode number 259, and I am going to start off today asking you guys a question. Would you like to save some time today? Would you like to be able to look at your calendar and have 5 extra minutes, 15 extra minutes, and in some cases, maybe a couple hours extra each and every week? You see, a couple years ago, I was looking around for productivity tools. I was searching for things in the Google world. I started using things like Google Keep to take notes. I was using Calendar to keep track of things. I was putting all my show notes in docs, but that really didn't make me as efficient as I needed to. So I looked over on the Microsoft side, and I started putting things in Word docs. I started organizing them in SharePoint. I started putting things together in a Microsoft team. I had all of my show notes, all of my school stuff. Everything that I was doing was in a team, in a channel, in a OneNote, in a OneDrive, but I still wasn't feeling productive enough. Then I found something that I'm excited to be talking to you about today, something that you've heard me talk about on this show a few times. I'm going to talk today about a product called Notion. Now, what is Notion? How does it work? What does it cost? And how has it absolutely changed my life, my coaching, my administrative position? And how am I using it to keep TeacherCast running each and every day? And most importantly, how is it giving me more time at home with my family, more time at home as a dad, and more time at home just simply to be relaxing? We're going to cover all of that stuff. Now, the neat part about Notion is that it can really be anything that you want. It can start off being a doc-like structure where you've got text and bullet points, to being something that has multiple databases that interlock each other and really can be anything that you want. So when I started this Notion journey, I started looking around for ways to support other teachers. And I started looking for ways that teachers were using Notion. You're going to see, if you do a YouTube search, a lot of different people out there claiming Notion is amazing. And here's my best template. And here's how I use it to build what they're going to call a second brain. We'll talk about that today. And I came along a website that I just absolutely fell in love with. The person who created that website, Milo Leask. Milo, how are you today? Welcome to TeacherCast.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm actually really looking forward to talking about Notion, but also just how it can be used in the classroom or for any kind of education purpose.
Now, I got to tell you, I've been looking forward to this conversation. And I know, as we mentioned before the recording, we're going to have a lot more to talk about after this conversation. Now, look, if you're out there listening to this and you've been using Notion, you've heard of Notion, you're interested in using it more, please feel free to reach out. You can go over to teachercast.net. We've got contact forms all over the place these days. Check it out. Let me know what you're doing. You'll even notice that when you go to TeacherCast and you fill out that contact form, my contact form actually now dumps into what's called a Notion database. Everything that you've been seeing on TeacherCast has been completely Notionified, and I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more today from Milo about the stuff that he's been doing. So Milo, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've got an interesting journey. You're sitting in an interesting part of the planet right now. Tell us a little bit about Milo.
Sure. Well, I was originally in aerospace back in Canada, but after university, I decided I didn't really want to have that routine of working in an office. So I ended up just traveling around Southeast Asia on a one-way ticket, discovering Thailand, Cambodia, and all those beautiful places around there. And after about a year, I ended up finding myself in South Korea teaching English there at a private English academy, which are some of these after school programs. In Korea, students will go to school from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m., but then they will go to an after school program, whether it be science, math, or English, and they'll do this 6 days a week. It's a really big kind of industry there, just kind of after school education. And so I teach, now I teach about 150 students over, maybe 10, 12 classes each week. And I'm also a content coordinator for about the 10 academies that I work with for all of the teachers there. And I help design lesson booklets and just general lesson content for this academy. But during that time, I needed a way to kind of organize and juggle all of just this chaos, all of this student information, lesson material, even managing all of my teachers that I work with. And so I somehow stumbled across Notion. And like Jeff said, Notion's just a fantastic platform for a kind of build your own digital workspace. It can start off really simple, but you can then make it as complex as you need it. And so I messed around with it and ended up building kind of a rudimentary lesson planner at first, which essentially just had a table similar to, say, Excel or Google Sheets. But the thing is with Notion is you can take these large list of databases and apply different views to them. So I could have a list of my lessons in a table format and then have it also in a calendar view, which this combination of kind of a list or this table plus a calendar to be able to see this list format in kind of a more visual view just allowed for me to really effectively create an entire curriculum a lot more faster than I was doing before. And then after that, just started adding on things like a general task manager, which replaced my, replaced my Google Calendar, and then ended up having creating this little class manager, which were these individual pages for each of my classes. And then Notion allows you to link different things together. And so I could link lessons to these class pages and link different tasks. And then from there, the whole world of opened up to me. And I just was able to kind of take control of all of my teaching using just Notion.
It's amazing how many things you can use this little tool for. As I mentioned earlier, I've been using it for house stuff. We just got a construction project started or finished here in the house. And, before I even called the first contractor, I opened up Notion. I made a little database. Who are they? When did I talk to them? What are the files, the receipts? It's all there. TeacherCast, like I mentioned, completely run by Notion. Databases for the shows, databases for the contacts, databases for the calendar, the meetings, all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's fantastic. Cool.
I look at it and go, this is digital Lego, right? And the whole idea is, can you create a tool for yourself, right? And it's in this category of no code solutions, right? I don't read code. I can't read. I'm never going to be out there writing the next Microsoft OneNote. But here with Notion, I can put together something that I can use, I can share, I can manipulate, and it's fun. I spend hours probably just changing properties and putting things together. But really, this has changed around my instructional coaching. And that's really where this first started for me. Was I realized that I could actually create a dashboard as an instructional coach that's going to help me keep track of meetings with teachers, what their teachers' needs, what their lessons are, their curriculum, their standards, other coaches' projects. All of these things I can actually work on creating a dashboard, so that way I'm in control of my schedule. I'm in control of my coaching. I'm in control of all the different pieces of information. Instead of having to sit down with a teacher and look through Google Drive, I now open up my Notion dashboard and there's everything. But even more important than that, when I sit down with my administrators at the time, I can show them what's going on. And then from there, my world just opened up. What was your first experience like with this? I mean, you mentioned that you went through a couple different task managers and stuff like that. When did it really click that Notion was your best friend?
Oh, well, Notion has like a very like a pretty steep learning curve. It's simple on the outside, and when you start learning it, it seems incredibly complex in a way. But once you kind of get through that initial hump, then it becomes very simple again, and you unlock this almost like this superpower. And I found like as soon as I started using it and watching videos, I felt incredibly frustrated, like learning it at first, but I knew I had that strong feeling like, oh, something's here. This is something I need to learn because I know I could do something with it. I have no idea what yet, but I know I'm going to do something with it. And now I've been using it for about 2 years now, and I've built out so many different things. I think my main teacher planner now is massive and has like a lot of different systems for it.
The website you can learn more about Milo's work is Notion4Teachers.com. Notion, the number 4teachers.com. And Milo, first of all, congratulations on that domain. That is a gold mine right there.
Yeah, I tried to get FOR, Notion4Teachers, but there was a guy on YouTube that already took that tag. I think he's a math teacher in England somewhere, and he just shows his incredibly complex, very hyper specific Notion setups. And I just figured, you know what, I'm just going to take the 4. But it's clear to people what I offer, the service I provide. And so I figured it kind of makes sense.
So how do you see teachers currently using Notion? If I was a teacher and I was trying to get started with this, what could I use Notion for? Yeah.
So, well, my understanding of how teachers use it has changed over time. Like at first, I figured they would just use it how I would, as just a simple planner where you can just kind of plan out lessons. Also, like as a knowledge database, you can kind of put all of your resources there. But now that I started Notion4Teachers and I kind of help sell templates to different teachers out there, I found that so many different types of educators out there use Notion. So there could be, I've talked to people that are kind of, what are they? It's like soccer coaches, like planning and organizing their players and their teams. I've talked to homeschool moms who manage their kids through homeschooling, private music academies, private coaches as well. I work with a guy actually building out a kind of a resource manager for a fitness coach on Instagram, and he runs his own gym and has a ton of videos, that like educational videos that he needed to manage and organize for his clients. And he had this own kind of build your own app. There are apps that you can use for this, but he figured, you know what, I use Notion. Notion actually allows me a lot more flexibility. And so I found that there's like so many different forms of educators out there, and every kind of educator, teacher, coach, whatever, it has their own different teaching environment, their own different kind of things that they have to do. And Notion, the flexibility of Notion and your ability to kind of customize it how you want is just so perfect for this kind of occupation. Considering that everyone's situation is different, they can custom tailor their Notion setup to fit their educational situation. Now,
there's a common question that happens around this time in the conversation when we're talking about a tool, and that's what's the cost? Now, Notion at its core is a free application, but there are paid options. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this. I haven't, outside of their AI features, I haven't paid for Notion yet. Everything that you want to do in Notion as a single person, as a single user, they give you. right? You can have unlimited rows, you can have unlimited databases, there's a few limitations, such as you can't put a picture in it more than 5 megs, but right? That might change with, I want to put a huge PDF inside of it, but that's where Google Docs comes from. You can put the PDF somewhere else and link to it. But outside of paying for the AI features, which we'll talk about in a little bit here, I don't pay for Notion. I don't pay for the use of it. And it has run my school district, my coaching business, my current classroom. It's run TeacherCast. It's run my house. Everything that I'm designing is on it. Have you figured that? I mean, are you, let me put it this way. I assume Notion's running your life too.
Yeah, no doubt.
On the same page,
sure.
Right?
Yeah, without question. Well, the free plan is perfect for individuals. That's really kind of how it can get people started. It is, like you said, it runs your life, and it's perfect for individuals. When you get into paid plans, this is where this is more so for teams of any size, right? So there's the plus. The next level up, the $8 a month, and this just gets you kind of like a bigger storage space for your teams, and it also allows you to invite more guests to your workspace. So if you do have pages or even different pages or even different workspaces that you want other people to access, then you'll need to get those paid plans, especially if you have a lot of people accessing those pages and you want to have a lot of guests. So if you did want to have some students or people that you're coaching access different pages and have their own privacy and permission settings, then this is where you would start getting into those paid plans.
I think one of the questions people might be asking is this for me? Right? Like I'm a Microsoft person. I'm a Google person. I've got all of these different things. And by the way, I'm going to stop the conversation here and say Notion is not paying us to do this show. Notion we have no affiliates with Notion at all. We're just fanboys of this application. And like I said, completely changed how I'm doing things here and given me more time. Why would you want to use Notion? And for me, I'm a big subscriber of this concept or this term that you're hearing out there called building your second brain, building a place for the storage of information. And, there are guys out there, Tiago Forte is the kind of guy who's been, coining these things, but the whole concept behind this is your brain is for doing, not for keeping, right? I'm saying that a little wrong, but there's so much data that we have to keep track of. Right. And if you think of TeacherCast, I got shows and I got graphics and I got emails and contacts. There's no way that I can remember all of that stuff. So I stick it into a place where I don't have to. So your brain is for trying to recall the information, not for storing all of this. And the same thing with my teaching position right now. All of my lesson plans, all of my standards, all of the calendar of events, all of the times that I've called parents, all of the times that I've been observed and spoken with people and had an idea, all of that stuff is under one roof. And now you might be saying, but I do Google Docs for that. And I go, great. How many Google Docs do you need versus one Notion system?
Well, this is the thing with Notion. It's like you don't like everyone has their own system before, and then Notion is like that one tool you never know you need it until you use it, and you're like, oh my God, this can do everything that I've been doing, but just under one roof, and in a way better. Like, when I started teaching, there's that whole administrative side of teaching that can get incredibly overwhelming when you have a ton of information to manage, right? Student information, schedules, meetings, even all of your lesson plans, all of these different resources. And so I ended up having a giant Google Drive of different folders and Google Docs and spreadsheets and stuff. And then, Notion can do all of that under one place, but it also has extra kind of functionality where everything can kind of connect to each other in a really nice way using kind of specific filters and stuff, allowing you to kind of move around and access that information much more like fluidly. And it's kind of customizable. So it's fun. It's fun to build, and you can create your own space how you want it. So it's kind of like having your own Google Drive, but in a way it's kind of a drag and drop, build your own, and can do everything and more.
It's interesting to see how the Microsofts and the Googles of the world are starting to capture pieces of Notion and make them their own. While you were saying that, my first thought was, well, if you have multiple Google Docs, you don't really have backlinks. Whereas on Notion, I can @ something and it's there. Now, after thinking that, yes, now Notion has the ability to say @ and it'll bring up your drive. But that only happened recently. And even Microsoft, we talk a lot about Microsoft a lot, love the company, love all that they're doing, but they just released a product called Microsoft Loop. And the idea basically, they're calling it a Notion clone. You can create some content, you can use it across all their different apps, and I love that. But even last year when I'm sitting there talking to the Microsoft people, I said, but does it have this ability to create a database and then link the databases to other things? And they're just saying, no, we do tables. And I'm going, a table is not a database.
Yeah, it's funny to see them make a clone of Notion. It's funny, actually, I think the lead developer or the creator of Google Sheets actually went and joined the Notion team. So it's now working for Notion.
Really?
Yeah, that happened recently, I think, in the last year. You have to look that up. I'm pretty sure, I got to find his name.
So
find him on Twitter later.
You've had the opportunity here over at Notion4Teachers.com to create a number of templates, because when it's time to talk about Notion, you can't not talk about templates, template galleries. It's intimidating to start, and you just have this blank page. What do you do with it? But you've been able to help out teachers across the world by creating a series of templates. Talk to us a little bit about that. What kind of templates do you offer? How do you get them? What's the cost? How can we take advantage of all the hard work that you've done?
Yeah, sure. Well, when I started using Notion, I built out my own kind of workspace that was just a standard kind of lesson planner, task manager, and it was like a nice kind of organized one-page workspace with some databases on the back end. And I shared a picture of it on the Notion subreddit, and it absolutely blew up. I think it was kind of at the top for about 2 weeks, and I had so many messages and private messages about, hey, can I copy this? Can I purchase this template? And I had no idea about the kind of template marketplace that currently exists for Notion. Notion has a very big template marketplace, right? Considering that Notion is a kind of drag and drop build your own digital workspace, there are creators out there who build custom workspaces, and then you can purchase these templates anywhere from like $2 to $5 to upwards of $100+. Kind of similar to how you might download a WordPress template or buy a Google Excel template or something. And so when I got all these messages on Reddit, it kind of took me down this rabbit hole of selling templates. So I ended up kind of doing some research, learning about Notion's own template gallery, where third-party creators upload their templates there, learning about creating a Gumroad profile, which is essentially like, I don't know how to explain it, like a kind of a platform where you can process payments, get analytics on your customers, send out emails and stuff, whatnot, and it able to get paid for the digital products that you sell. And so that kind of took that. Once I sold my first template, or once I built it, I messaged everyone on Reddit, made a few $100s in the first week or so, and realized, oh my God, like there's something here. So I just went from there, kind of refining the template, refining the workspace that I had made for myself. And then I figured, okay, there are a lot of teachers that are fairly new to Notion. I think most teachers may feel uncomfortable purchasing a $50 template that has like multiple pages, lots of different systems and stuff. So I ended up making these kind of modular, very simple templates. So like a lesson planner, a task manager, a note manager, bookmark tracker, class manager, student tracker, attendance, whatever. And then just made them free for teachers so they could get a little bit of exposure to Notion and have just a simple single use case template. And I find those are really popular. I will get about 50 to 100 downloads a day for those. And I think that's a good kind of entry level for teachers to get started using Notion. And really, they're simple enough that teachers can customize them as much as they want. But then also on the other end, I do have the full kind of ultimate teacher planner second brain, as you said earlier, which is more around the $50, $70 range.
I highly recommend checking out these templates over at Notion4Teachers.com. I've been playing with them. They look fantastic. They're easy to use.
Oh, that's cool.
And one of the nice things about Notion, especially the way that you've built yours, Notion's an application that it looks great on a desktop, but the power is really when you're using it on a mobile device, especially on a tablet or on your phone. And I've actually been more productive with Notion since I started using Notion widgets on my home screen of my iPad. On the home screen of my iPhone, you can use a Notion widget for, my favorite pages, my last used pages. There's a whole mess of different things that you can do just by using Notion widgets. Even on if you're using a Mac, you can actually start using Notion widgets on your desktop. And, one click and you're on that page, or one click and you're in that lesson plan, or one click and you're in that podcast episode you're planning. So many different things rather than every time you open up Notion, you're starting from scratch. And highly recommend checking out all the great stuff over at Notion4Teachers.com. As you mentioned, there's, starter kits, and there's lesson planning kits, and there's student tracking and information kits, and it's all nice, all organized. And by the way, your graphics look amazing, dude.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Awesome.
know you put a lot of hard work into that.
Oh, it still feels like there's a ton more to do. I mean, I'm still at what I feel is the start of this journey. I've only just started with a YouTube channel. I think, honestly, that would be a great place to start if teachers are interested in using Notion. Right now, I just have video tutorials on how to build those free templates that I provide. But hopefully down the road, I will have more comprehensive courses of being able to bridge that gap between teachers and Notion. So really educating and teaching kind of teachers how they can get started with Notion. And that's kind of the long-term plan.
So if you're looking for more information, head on over to Notion4Teachers.com. We're going to be also doing some Notion stuff on TeacherCast. So check out all of that stuff. Milo, before I let you go, I want to talk about a topic that we're hitting on every single show: artificial intelligence. Notion recently came out with their own version of AI. And I got to tell you, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome to know that not only is it able to search for things, it can talk back to you, but it's finding and searching things within the walled garden of your account.
Yeah, I think that's the special thing about Notion AI. It's not just like a chat GPT in Notion. The Notion AI is like integrated in the bones of Notion. And so its AI is accessing all of your databases, all the information in your kind of Notion workspace, and you're able to use that information along with AI.
And yes, you can use Notion AI to write a recipe, to write a blog post, to do all those things. But for me, I want to write a blog post of all the podcasts that I've ever mentioned artificial intelligence. It'll search everything in my Notion database and give me the list with the links, with the blog post references. Everything is there. So, imagine you having a conversation with yourself. It's pretty simple.
It can also do, now I haven't spent so much time using Notion AI. I used it a lot when it came out, but I still have to just go full discovery mode. But the capabilities in Notion AI are really cool. Like inside pages, now for your listeners, they may not be super familiar with Notion, but you can, for each page, you can add these custom properties. And some of those properties can be use the AI function. And so based on the contents of your page, say it's like, imagine having a Google Docs with a ton of information, you can have these properties with custom prompts already embedded in these properties that will automatically kind of read your page and spit out something based on the prompt you gave it, which kind of can let you, like a very basic example is you could have like, say, a meeting notes of like maybe a recording of the transcript of meeting notes automatically go into your Notion page, and then Notion AI will give you the summary and action points of those meeting notes like instantly within that page. And everything is connected in Notion, and so you're able to get this information very quickly.
Now, we know that in Copilot and ChatGPT, you can say, create this prompt as if you were talking to a 4-year-old, a college professor, whatever. For my TeacherCast dashboard, I have a number of those prompts set up for my show notes. And one of them is something to the effect of, I need a summary of these show notes, no more than 150 characters, SEO friendly, as if you're reading this to Google. Meaning it's giving me my show notes. It's giving me my YouTube description. I tweak it a little, but the whole thing is coming out with all of my search engine optimization for me right there.
Yeah, nice. Perfect.
It saves me time. And that's the idea of why you can clearly see I'm passionate about this. Milo's passionate about this. Oh, yeah. By having a tool like this, you are saving yourself time. I know we've been talking about this topic for 31 minutes, but the point is, if you're interested in learning more about this stuff, check out the great stuff over on Milo's website, Notion4Teachers.com. Check out some of his free templates. Check out some of the paid templates. There's a lot of things out there. Milo, just in case people are wondering, the average price of a template for yours is around where?
Oh, 25. Well, the paid one's about $25 to $50.
Which is peanuts for the amount of time that it takes to actually build one of these things from scratch.
Some of them took hundreds of hours.
If you're looking at this as a coach, please reach out. We're talking to Milo about this. We're putting together one for coaches specifically, one that basically, the one that I've been using for the last, couple of years as an instructional coach, one that you can sit there and say, I'm in this building, I'm in this teacher's room, here's what we're working on. Anything that you need as an instructional coach, we're putting this in here. I've also got one that I'm building for podcasters. I've also got one that I'm building for district administrators. If you're looking for Notion templates, please let us know. We would love to help you out with all of that stuff. Milo, dude, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this stuff with us. I've been following you for a while, and I think your stuff is absolutely amazing. So one last time, tell the people, where can they find you guys on social media?
Wow. Well, thank you, Jeff. Thank you for, where they can find me. Well, my YouTube, Notion4 Teachers. You could just search that on YouTube. I'm starting to make videos there now. Also on my website, Notion4Teachers.com. And then I'm also on Twitter as well.
We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you're looking for more information, don't forget to head on over to teachercast.net, check it out. And we want to say thank you one last time for Milo to be on the show. And that wraps up this episode of Ask the Tech Coach. For more information, head on over to AskTheTechCoach.com. And on behalf of Milo and everybody here on TeacherCast, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you guys to keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.
You've been listening to Ask the Tech Coach, hosted by Jeff Bradbury of the TeacherCast Educational Network. Please reach out to the show with all of your questions on Twitter at AskTheTechCoach or online at www.askthetechcoach.com. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And please take a moment to write a review in the App Store.